Time for a little Greek lesson. Today we're looking at the aorist active and middle participle. The aorist participle is very much like the present participle. It's part verb and part adjective, just as you would expect. And because it's in the aorist tense, you're going to see that it shows usually a point of action as opposed to the present participle, which would show a line of action. This is a point of action, and it's often prior to the time of the main verb, at least in as much as the participle is like a verb. Very often the participles appear more like adjectives, and the time element goes away. We'll keep a close eye on it, and while we're keeping a close eye on that, do remember the full courses that I teach at potterschool.org and at alts.edu, and there's always something happening, increasingly more, at wittenbergcomo.com. Let's see, we need to know how to form this aorist participle, and so to form the aorist active participle, you'll be using the aorist stem. Remember, a stem like bleps or loose or pipped. Notice in the first aorist there will be a sigma alpha, and in the second aorist there will be that radical stem. Remember, for instance, erchomai turns to elthon in the aorist, and it's that altered stem that you'll see in the participle as well. Masculine and neuter are going to be third declension adjectives. Feminine will be a first declension adjective. Let's take a look at the aorist active participles then and see if we can find that aorist stem, the first aorist sigma alpha, and the second aorist radical stem, and the third declension and first declension. See, in the aorist active participles we have, for example, lusas, lusasa, and lusan. See the sigma alpha, sa, santos, santi, santa. Third declension in the masculine and the neuter. See those? Review the third declension plural endings in the masculine and the neuter. And you see we've still got that aorist stem with the sigma alpha in it. What happened to the feminine? Notice it's got the aorist stem with the sigma alpha, but then it's first declension. Just like you saw in the present active participle, then the masculine and neuter are third declension and the feminine is first declension. So there's the first aorist, like lusas, lusasa, lusan. And then notice the second aorist, such as idon, idusa, idon. See the altered stem, no sigma alpha here, but the verb oida changes to give you idon. Actually, I guess many people would say the verb blepo changes to give you idon. Notice again, masculine and neuter are third declension. On, ontos, onti, onta. Ontes, onton, usi, ontos. And then notice the feminine is first declension. So if you learn the masculine, feminine, and neuter nominative singular, the rest of your forms will follow a pattern that you can recognize. So again, formation, to form the aorist active participle, use the aorist stem. See the sigma alpha in the first aorist, the altered stem, radical stem, in the second aorist. Masculine and neuter third declension, feminine first declension. How about the middle participle? You'll use the aorist stem, and as you did in the present participle, you'll use menos, mene, menon. First and second declension endings. Let's look at those at the bottom of the screen. You see we've just used a luo again. It doesn't matter whether it's first or second aorist. You'll use the aorist stem. So you could have lusamenos, or you could have idomenos. Get the idea. Aorist stem, and then menos, mene, menon. First and second declension endings. Now, since the participles are probably a kind of new concept, let's remember how to work with these. This screen, by the way, is exactly the same as the one I displayed looking at the present participle. We're going to keep an eye on those participles. We'll see how they're used in their natural habitat. But we'll remember, as a verb, it has tense and voice. We can call the mood participle, if the grammar police allow us to. And as a verb, a participle can take a direct object in the accusative case. As an adjective, it has gender, number, case, function. And the participle can function in any way any other adjective can, including as a noun if it's got an article. So it can be a subject or describe a subject, or an indirect object, or possessive, direct object, object with a preposition, any of that. Normally in the attributive position, a participle will primarily be an adjective. In the predicate position, it's primarily adverbial, and I would underline primarily. Usually it acts this way, but it doesn't really have to. It's a difficult word to deal with because the participles just fall outside of normal categories. And to translate an aorist participle, at least as a beginner, try using having blanked. So having walked, having loosed. I guess we can't say having seed, we'd say having seen. Or, having gone. No, not just having gone. But that ed adjective will be a participle normally in English. And if it's masculine, remember, it could well refer to a man. If it's feminine, it could well refer to a woman. Watch for it to be in any gender, number, and case. So there you go, aorist, active, and middle participles. I hope you can have a lot of fun with those. So long.